Happy summer solstice, everyone. I hope you're having a good time this summer. Record-breaking heat waves across the US, across the world, I'm sure, soon because of climate change, but it's pretty hot in here right now, and I've turned off my fan because it's too loud, but I'm going to struggle through this like Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz, and we are going to hop right into this summer solstice video. Things I wish I would have known before I got started on my spiritual journey. I hope that this will be helpful to all of you to hear my perspective, and I hope that it's useful to others starting out on their spiritual journey so that they can learn these lessons from me instead of the hard way. So my first tip is magic works less like miracles and more like clockwork. Because you're working with the natural forces of the world in magic and getting your reward from those, it is a natural process, and you come to understand timing better. You come to understand how important the cycles of everything are, how you have to work with the cycles and the phases of the planets. And tapping into the time frame and the timeline in this realm allows you to insert your magic in the timeline. It allows you to more accurately expect when your results from magic are going to come through for you. And you will learn to be very patient, and you'll learn that everything comes in time. And so the most important thing I have to say about magical timing and magical success and basically having patience for your magic to work is that you have to have patience and faith in the processes around you. If you are someone who struggles with having faith, then simply have hope. Have hope that the systems around you will begin to turn in a positive direction for you, and it slowly will begin to happen. And patience, I think, is the key to faith, because you begin to learn through patience that everything that happens is reliable, happens for a reason, and that really everything is constantly changing, and everything is fluid and nothing stays fixed. So have faith that there will be change, and have faith that you can direct that change into something positive. And then you will see how useful magic is, and that it's not about miracles, but really just about the clockwork of the universe. The second thing I had to learn was that there are spirits everywhere. Literally, there are spirits everywhere, throughout everything. And everything is formed by the interactions of spirits, and then becomes manifest physically afterwards. And once you begin to see the universe as a field of energy rather than objects separated in time and space, you begin to see that there are spirits everywhere, and that the astral realm is all around us and penetrates everything, and everything is mirrored on the astral realm. And basically, we live in a spiritual reality. We don't live in a material reality, we live in an energy reality. And you also learn that you can't really perceive everything there is to perceive with a simple human mind. The third thing I've had to learn about magic is that it's never like special effects. It's almost always invisible. And you can see the energetic realms in your mind. You can make a picture of the energetic realms in your mind, but it's necessarily limited because of our simple human brains. So real magic happens in fields of vibration and energy that are almost undetectable. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you have more confidence in your magic, because you realize it doesn't have to be sparks flying out or physical manifestation all the time. It can be as simple as intention, and knowing that your intention is traveling. And once you begin to accept that most magic is really more invisible and less physical than any sort of physical object we could own, or any book or any tool. You begin to actually appreciate the significance of magic in our day-to-day reality, on everyone and even on us. The fourth important thing that I had to learn in my spiritual journey is that magic can be dangerous for people who are struggling with a mental condition. And necessarily, magic tests all of our weaknesses, because when you want to start elevating yourself to a more capable and powerful being, you have to leave behind all of your old habits, and you have to realize exactly who you are and exactly how you work. And that necessarily means for almost everyone that there will be some sort of health condition or mental condition that you have to face. Magic tests these conditions, and if you're not watching them and caring for them, magic can add to the strain and you can misdirect your energy. In order to combat this, learn about your brain. Learn about the vehicle that you're driving with. Read Carl Jung. Here is one of his popular books that you can get for pretty cheap, Man and His Symbols, Carl Jung. And learn about how your brain processes things. Learn what your dreams mean. Learn what your thoughts mean. Learn what omens mean. Along with things like omens and visions, you have to learn about psychology. You have to learn about psychosis and hallucinations and schizophrenia, because you have to make sure that when you are having visions, that it's not coming from some sort of mental condition. There are people who have a mental condition that actually can assist them in their spiritual strengths, but you still have to know how to treat that condition or work with that condition before you can really become the strongest person you can be. So learn about psychology, go to a counselor, go see a therapist. I think everyone on this planet will eventually mature enough to where they have the responsibility to go to a therapist, and they realize that responsibility, and all of us will be so much better for it. Seriously, go to counseling, please, for all of us. The sixth thing I had to learn in my spiritual journey is all deities and spirits are equally real. They are bodies of energy. Basically, deities and spirits are expansions of Source, or holograms of Source. They are the beams of Source. We are the beams of creation. We are light manifested in God's universe. So all deities, spirits, and religions are equally real. They're talking about energies that actually exist. The problem comes in when people start saying that their deity is the only deity or their religion is the only religion. That's wrong. That's immoral. That's against God. That's evil, actually. There are many gods, many deities, spirits, religions, and it's important to realize that and accept that. As humanity matures, people will begin to accept that there are many deities and spirits, that they all have some sort of tangible force and impact on all of us. But until humanity matures, we'll continue having people who are monotheists, unfortunately. Some of the problems with monotheism are simply that they don't listen to anyone else. That's wrong. It's so wrong. And you can see the results of that in their hatefulness and intolerance and bigotry that pops up. It's tragic. That's not the topic of this video, but that goes into the all spirits and religions are equally real. And the more you learn about religions, the more you understand that. A lot of Masonic writings from Freemasonry kind of talk about the common core and roots of all religions in a really detailed way, and it's important to learn about religions and all of us to be a perpetual student in life of all subjects. If you're not a perpetual student in life in all subjects, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Be a student. No one knows everything, and we can learn from each other, all of us. The seventh thing I had to learn is don't be positive all the time. It's actually harmful to be positive all the time, because we are meant to address our thoughts and what goes on in our heads, and we have to accept everything that's going on in there for us to be a fully conscious and fully functioning human being. So don't be positive all the time. Make a list of pros and cons of your life and pros and cons of any situation, and really sit down and look and judge a situation and say, does this match my soul? Does this match my vibration? Should I be here? And if not, leave. It's up to all of us to keep and stick to the vibration that we actually want to continue. What we feed into in our vibrational current is what we will step into. It forms our future, and it forms our worldview. It forms our perspective of the past and the present. So be aware of your energies in your head and in your soul and in your body, both negative and positive. This is extremely important for spiritual well-being. The 8th thing I've had to learn in my spiritual journey is harming no one is not comparable to self-defense. Everyone has the right to self-defense, and no one has the right to invade any other person's sphere. No one has the right to infringe on another person's free will. Plain and simple. No one has the right to tell anyone what they are doing with themselves is wrong. Similarly, because a lot of people don't follow those rules, and a lot of harmful structures out there and systems don't follow those rules of not harming people. Because of that, it's important to have a good system of self-defense. And I think everyone should learn some form of self-defense. I think it's one of the most useful things you can learn in this life, such as jiu-jitsu or karate or taekwondo. The martial arts that teach you about balance and meditation and full control over your body and being calm in intense situations and knowing how to defend yourself will drastically improve your well-being, your mental and physical well-being. Those are amazing things to learn, amazing arts to learn, and I haven't learned them yet, but I will one day. And when I do, don't try to fight me, because I will kick you in the face. So, harming no one and trying not to harm people on this planet is not comparable to self-defense. We all have the right to self-defense. Similarly, we all have bodily autonomy. Spiritually, I think the argument against abortion is foolishness, spiritually and physically. I think God allows for conception and premature death to happen in order to teach the parents lessons. And the soul of the child is linked to that fetus, but not inhabiting it consciously. In practically all of the spiritual systems of wisdom, they say that incarnation happens the moment a baby takes their first breath. That's when the soul enters. And I agree with this, and I think if another being is inhabiting your body, you're pregnant with it, and you don't want it any longer, it is completely in your full right and control to have an abortion. That is part of God's plan, actually. It's not evil, it's not a sin. It can be painful and traumatic, but it's completely in your right, and it is a part of the divine plan that those type of deaths and conceptions will happen. And that also goes with the philosophy that you have to accept all of the dark with the light, and any spirituality that's trying to keep everyone in the light and trying to make everyone perfect through control, that is a corrupt system. That shows the signs of a man-made and man-corrupted system, and not a divine system. Divine systems are flowing, they mimic the laws of nature, and they're both beautiful and painful. I will say the suffering in life has to come with the good, because you can't have one without the other. They're the opposite sides of the same coin, and it's necessary for divisions between energies to be felt by us, and thus it's necessary for pain and suffering. But we can choose joy. So that's why life is worth it, because we can choose joy. We can make joy happen. So don't mess with anyone's free will, ever. And learn how to defend yourself. The 9th thing that I had to learn is choose your friends very wisely. Any subculture or private group will be full of all sorts of different kinds of people, most likely, from all different sorts of backgrounds and paths and personality types. Make sure your vibration truly matches with the people that you choose as your friends. If your vibration doesn't match and you continue to allow that friendship to grow, it will only be all the more painful in the end. No relationship should continue on a negative, destructive vibration. We should not be parasites for each other. The people that you choose to be your close friends, but also your inner circle of spirituality, choose very wisely. Make sure you actually align with their vibrations. When you have a group or a ritual, no one should be invited to it willy-nilly. You should be very intentional about who you allow in that sacred space and that very vulnerable setting, vulnerable for everyone. So choose your companions in magic and religion very wisely. Churches with mass congregations here in America are pretty much harmful. They inject religion into politics, really, and it's kind of a propaganda machine controlled by one person at the top, and it's not spiritual. In the future, spiritual groups will be smaller groups, and rituals will be held in people's houses, and the people who are invited will be very limited. It will be a small setting, and from everyone benefiting from that, all of outside society will benefit as well, and all of everyone's interactions with outside society will be better. The massive churches, really, they are not spiritually challenging. They cause people to be sheep and blind followers. And so I think they're harmful. I think religion and spirituality will continue to be more specialized and independent in the future. And the last part of number 9, choose your teachers very, very wisely. The 10th tip that I have for you that I had to learn in my spiritual journey early on, I wish I would have known sooner, is just use the labels that are useful and meaningful to you. Don't put a label on yourself, whatever it might be, for any type of club or any type of people or any type of belief. Don't attach it to yourself unless it's useful and meaningful to you. And don't let anyone else attach a label to you that's not useful or meaningful to you. And it's okay for labels to change over your life. The problem is people think language is fixed, and it's actually fluid. Just like everything in our universe is actually fluid. Everything is energy. Nothing is fixed. Everything will be destroyed and renewed and remade in time. Nothing is permanent. So it's okay for you to adapt and change your labels and how you describe your practice. It's okay to be constantly changing. That's a good thing, actually. And it actually becomes a political thing and a rigid thing rather than a fluid thing when people insist on labels and clubs and divisions. And you will learn that in your spiritual journey, that there are people who, when they give you their label, it's so useful and it tells you so much. There are people that when they give you their label, it means nothing. And we have to accept that. Magic is something that's hard to define, always. So we have to accept that labels are fluid. And the 11th tip that I have for you today is be both confident and egoless from the beginning, from the first step. Have confidence in your natural ability and capability. Everything you try and attempt to do and get good at will involve practice and lots of failing and getting back up again and failing and getting back up and failing. It's necessary. It's part of learning. It's how growth actually happens. So be confident enough to listen to yourself, to follow your own inner voice, to not allow anyone else to control your own inner self. Be egoless because you want to be real, and you want your journey to be real and authentic. Be earnest and humble. See yourself as you truly are. Look in the mirror and see your true being, and then be confident. It's a miracle that any of us were born. It's a 0% chance of the odds that we were born how we were, but we were, because this is what is. So be grateful for what you were born as. Be grateful for what you are. Look at yourself just as this little flesh suit with the spirit inhabiting it. Be grateful for that. Be grateful for your presence, and then operate from there with bravery and confidence, and you will find your way. You have to work with the spirits and the deities, and then you have to work with people. Follow your spirit guides and deities, and make your decisions in magic and in your spiritual journey, and even in the physical world, based on that wisdom. And those are the 11 tips I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. And before I go, I suppose I will say I have a lot of content coming. It's difficult for me to film videos sometimes. I have a lot of distractions, a lot of things going on in the wider world, and I also am dealing with treating my irritable bowel syndrome that I was unfortunately born with. My dad also has some digestive issues that he's had to work through and fix. So I'm in the process of adjusting my diet and getting some good medicine to help me have better digestion, because if you know anything about IBS, it is exhausting. It causes your digestion to just be overly sensitive to everything, kind of hyperactive, and you have to do a lot of adjustments in your life to have a good amount of energy and not face uncomfortableness every day. So sometimes I really don't have energy to film a video. I have other things to do, so I just do those things. There are also negative and just evil people on YouTube that are just really unredeemed souls in the end, and I can't do anything for them. Unfortunately, none of us can. But the large majority of everyone on YouTube is so kind and curious and interested and just amazing. I always say, or I don't always say it, but I said it like a couple weeks ago, I have room in my heart for hate because I think some people deserve it. But aside from that, I'm here because I love everyone else. And I'll leave you with that on this summer solstice, and I'm sending through my screen all of the healing and revitalizing and motivating energy that I can muster for all of you. And I hope you're having a good time in this chaotic world. Go listen to my Apocalypse podcast. Go look at me on Instagram and Facebook and everywhere you can, and look at my website and share with people. And make sure you're subscribed and the bell is rung, and those are my reminders. And I hope you enjoyed the video.